Hi, this is Jane Rosenthal, and you're watching Style Culture News.
What if the darkness returns? I have to be ready.
I light it by myself so you can ignore your responsibility to this family.
I need to protect this family.
You're drowning in your own fear, Mayari.
Why is the mundo more important than us?
Let's speak to the Emmy Award-winning innovator behind the VR storytelling experience, Reimagined Volume 2. Now, this is a mystical journey that will bring us to enchanting lands. So let's talk about how this is reimagining storytelling. What brings you here today to Tribeca Immersive?
Yes, my name is Michaela Ternasky Holland, and I am the director, producer, and co-writer of Reimagined Volume 2 Mahal, which is an immersive virtual reality experience that is inspired by Philippine mythology and based on my own personal story of grief.
You mentioned that it was inspired by mythology, and so I'm curious what real-life deities you might have been inspired by and what inspired you to tell the story.
Of course. So the Philippines is an archipelago of islands of over 100 different cultures. And so mythology isn't just a one-size-fits-all. And so when I was doing my research, I realized that a lot of Philippine indigenous cultures actually believed that gods and goddesses were inside of nature. But the Tagalogs, which were a very specific tribe, actually believed that gods and goddesses were these anthropomorphic beings and actually human-like. And that's when I really got excited, because I wanted to tell a story of gods and goddesses that were relatable. So our story actually follows 4 gods and goddesses. We actually have figurines of them over here to my left. We have Apalaki, the god of the sun, Mayari, the goddess of the moon, Tala, the goddess of the stars, and Hanan, the goddess of the dawn. And these are all gods and goddesses that are found in the Tagalog mythology. And the inspiration for the story is based on my loss of my father when I was very young. And very similar to me, our 4 gods and goddesses are also struggling with the loss of their father, whose name is Batala, the creator god in Tagalog mythology.
I'm curious what other ways Reimagine Volume 2 is using VR in new and different ways than other VR storytelling. I know that it has such a beautiful visual language, but how did you have a different approach to VR, and what did you make sure to prioritize that may be unexpected?
Totally, and that's a great question, actually. I have to give a huge shout out to my team. We actually built this project in a platform called Oculus Quill by SmoothStep, which is similar to when Disney animators used to hand paint and hand animate every single frame. My team did the exact same thing using virtual reality 3D technology. So they actually hand painted every environment, hand animated every single character, and so there's definitely this sense of heart and soul that went into the project that you don't sometimes always get in like a computer graphic, computer generated type of project.
How would you want the audience who experiences this amazing project what would you want them to walk away with? What would your hope for them to feel and think right when they take off the headset be?
It's a great question. You know, once we put all of our heart and soul into making this thing, it really does belong to you, the audience. And so my hope is that you feel connected to these characters in some way, shape, or form. You don't have to be Filipino. You don't have to be familiar with mythology. You don't even have to be aware that these characters exist. I really would just want you to come in and say, oh, I know what it's like to have lost somebody I love. I know what it's like to feel maybe that level of anger or resentment or frustration. Or I know what it's like to be forgetting myself to please other people. Or I know what it's like to try to keep it all together, to act normal, or I know what it's like to be isolated and workaholic and pretend my emotions don't exist. I just hope that you feel connected to these characters. I hope you feel really awe-inspired by this world we created. It's inspired by Philippine indigenous culture, and I also hope, you know, when you get out of that headset that you really feel like we took you on a really entertaining ride that you won't forget.
Thank you so much for bringing this world to life and bringing it to all of us.
Thank you so much for wanting to highlight it and spotlight it, and we're really excited for the audience to get to enjoy the piece as well. We've been working very hard on it, and this is a big moment for us.